Hi you guys, Cyanide at night. And in celebration of Halloween, I am introducing For My Soul magazine, October Scary Edition, where you can learn what it's like to be a young, independent adult, living life on your own, your terms, your ideas, and what it really means to capture and cultivate life to your liking. Look in the description box so you can get you a copy. Let's get scary. Stargazer. From Saya in Underworld, blogspot.com. A man casually looked up at the sky on the way home from his work. What spread before his eyes was the perfect starry sky without a cloud in sight. How long has it been since I last looked up at the starry sky? He had been up to neck with work for months. As he looked at those twinkling stars, he felt a quiet joy in his heart. From that day onward, it became his custom to gaze at the stars from the balcony of his apartment after work. One night he noticed that in the apartment building opposite of his, there was a woman who was gazing up at the sky from her room in the same manner as he was doing. She must love looking at the night sky too. He felt a friendly feeling towards her. He continued to gaze up at the stars whenever he had a chance. And as the days went by, his interest in the woman in the opposite building grew too. In fact, he became almost infatuated with her. The reason was because every time he went out on the balcony to look at the sky, she was also there looking at the sky. I wonder what kind of person she is. She must know that I am also here looking at the sky. He couldn't contain his desire to get to know her any longer. He decided to visit her room. Feeling butterflies in his stomach, he headed towards her room. When he arrived, he pressed the doorbell, but there was no answer, no matter how many times he pressed it. He impulsively grabbed hold of the doorknob. Surprisingly, the door was unlocked. He timidly peered into the room. It was almost completely dark. Only the moonlight through the window was casting a pale light on the woman. But he froze the moment he saw her. The woman was dead, hanging from the ceiling by the window. She looked as though she was standing there gazing up at the starry sky. Mountain Witch. This happened to a young couple driving on a mountain pass. The sun was already setting. Virtually no oncoming car could be seen, nor were there any lampposts. While the man drove the car, his girlfriend, tired from a long drive, slept on the front seat beside him, wrapped up cozily in a blanket. The man stared intently ahead into the dark, trying to keep fatigue at bay. When they were halfway through the mountain, he spotted a white sedan parked at a lay-by. Without thinking, he slowed down his car. He had already known other couples to park their cars at such a place and stay overnight inside them, for they lacked money to stay in proper hotels. He stopped the car, peered into the rear seat window of the car out of curiosity. But as soon as he did so, a door of the sedan suddenly opened wide and a woman came out. Their eyes met. Her eyes were boring into his. Feeling awkward and a little embarrassed, he suddenly started the car to get away from the place. He was still feeling her eyes on him. And a few seconds later, he looked into the rearview mirror to see if she was still staring at him. Then he gasped in horrified alarm. The woman was chasing his car. His feeling of embarrassment turned into panic, and he sped up the car. He drove it as fast as he could on a narrow mountain pass, but the woman was still chasing him, although it was impossible for any human being to have kept up with such high speed. In the rearview mirror, he saw the woman's face illuminated by the red brake lights, and the sight made his hair stand on end. Mountain witch, mountain witch. The face was the exact copy of the face of Mountain Witch he saw in a children's book when he was a boy. It was an ugly, wrinkled, demonic face of an old woman with her hair wildly flying in the wind, closing in on her victim. He started apologizing for God knows what and stepped on the accelerator like crazy. Before he knew it, he had arrived at the parking space of a convenience store at the foot of the mountain. His girlfriend woke up, and he told her how he had just had a narrow escape from death. She looked confused at first, but soon her expression turned into one of great shock. A huge sense of relief washed over him, because by telling her the story, he felt like he was confirming to himself that he was safe now. When he had finished telling his story, he found his girlfriend looking pensive, as if ruminating over what he told her. I had a dream, she finally spoke. In the dream, I was chasing your car frantically because you had left me alone in the middle of the mountain and driven away. I yelled and screamed with all my strength, but you wouldn't stop and kept going. For one moment, I seriously thought in my mind, I will kill him. Can't let him die. An anonymous post. Full moon. 5 years ago, my mother was working for my father's business partner. Her boss, the company director, would become very irritable at times and lose his temper at the slightest provocation. Someone would tell him, please, make sure you look through these documents. And he would somehow blow up and start taking his anger out on the objects around him, and sometimes even started to throw them around. One day, my mother was on her way home thinking, he was in a bad mood today too, when she noticed the full moon in the sky. The same thing happened the following month and the month after that, and she realized that when her boss became irritable, it was inevitably on a full moon day. In time, she started thinking, I don't want to go to work tomorrow because it's a full moon day. But the boss died suddenly, and it was not because of illness or an accident. He had seemed perfectly robust and healthy up until the time of his death. Apparently, he had a heart attack. People conjured that perhaps he had been working too hard. The prize in the box. A cryptic story. The old man said to the young man, shall we play a game? His explanation of the rules was as follows. There was a prize amounting to a large sum of money inside a box. And if the young man manages to pry open the box, the prize will be his. The box is extremely stout and it is impossible to open by bare hands. But surrounding the box are a variety of weapons, such as an axe, which the young man is free to use. There is no time limit whatsoever. The young man replied that he would like to play with much enthusiasm. It appeared there was no risk at all involved. The old man nodded and said, "Actually, there are a few difficult challenges you must go through before you are able to reach the box. If, however, you are willing to pay me 50,000 yen right now, I will let you start from a place closest to the prize." The young man joyfully handed 50,000 yen over to the old man. Then the game started. From the very beginning, the prize was right in front of the young man. The Witness, a cryptic story. It was around midnight 3 days ago. I was on my way home from a night of drinking, as it was a very cold night. I stopped by a vending machine to buy some warm tea. While I was at it, suddenly a kid went running like a thunderbolt down the cross street on my right. What the fuck is that kid doing in such a cold place? I thought to myself. After getting tea, I again began walking when a woman came running up to me and asked, "Have you seen my son?" It was cold. I was sleepy and couldn't be bothered to get involved. So I told her. I didn't see her son and went back home to sleep. But a surprise was lying in wait for me the following morning. The mother of the kid I saw had been stabbed at home and was now fighting for her life. The town, I don't know what that word said, near my place told me all about it. The case didn't get to be on the news, so I don't know about the details, but it was the kid who first discovered his mother in that state and ran to the police station for help. Hearing that made me feel sorry, because I thought there was perhaps something more I could have done to save them. At the lake. This happened a few years ago when I was camping by Lake Hansu. In the middle of the night, as we sat around the fire, I heard a woman scream from the direction of the lake. "Help! Anyone!" I turned my head towards the lake and saw a woman drowning in it. I jumped to my feet, thinking I must help her quickly. I was about to throw myself into the water when my friend said, "What are you doing?" He tried to pull me back. "What am I doing?" "You've got to help her," I replied, but he said, "Cool your head down and look again. You know she's very far from us, but it's pitch black. How is it possible that we can see her face so clearly?" His words made me look toward the lake again. Then I realized the woman had stopped struggling in the water and was now staring steadily at us. But the water was too deep for anyone to stand in. And my friend said it was pitch black around us, yet I could see every detail of her face. Her face looked strangely luminous, although the light from our fire was too faint to reach that far. Totally freaked out, we immediately packed everything up and left. We tried not to look towards the lake while we packed, but I could feel her eyes following our every move. I swear, I'll never go to that place again. What interesting stories. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm Cyanide Pretty, wishing you love, peace, good night. Cyanide Pretty, no more fear, no more doubt. You are now set free from the pains and the horror.
Release me. Release me.
Cyanide pretty.
Halloween, spooky, scary over here. Everybody acting like hella scared. It's Halloween, scary over here.